Welcome on in. Welcome on into the Cards Companion. The Cards are taking the field again this week. They got Miami on Friday night. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Welcome on in, welcome on in, welcome on into the Cards Companion. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on when and where you are watching in from. My name is Josh. I am joined by my lovely co-host, as always, James. James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. We're coming off a bye week where we had plenty of good football. We discussed that in our other show. We got an early one. We kick off the weekend this week.
Honestly, I love it. I know there's a lot of fans that don't like the whole weeknight thing. I personally love it because then I get to sit around on Saturday and not really have to be anxious about Louisville and just get to enjoy it. So I'm not complaining personally. James, though, I want to do something a little different before we start really getting into this show this week. Okay. I want to test your knowledge a little bit here. Okay. What trophy does Louisville and Miami play for?
It's the boots. Howard's boots.
The boots. Howard Schnellenberger's boots. So, fun fact about those are actually real boots. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Those are real boots encased in bronze. Famously, Coach Schnellenberger used to wear cowboy boots a lot on the sidelines. He was a very eccentric person, okay? This game is not a game that I would really consider a rivalry game, to be completely honest with you. So I have a lot of Miami friends, and the one thing that I've always noticed is it's not really a rivalry, but there is very much of a mutual respect there.
Mm-hmm.
And the mutual respect between Miami and Louisville is simply because of one man and one man alone, and his name is Howard Schnellenberger.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not a Louisville fan or if you're not a Miami fan, and for some reason you're watching this, first off, thank you. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch us out of all people. But what I will say is Howard Schnellenberger was the coach at Miami that really built that program up to national prominence. He resurrected the Louisville football program after 20-so years of just mediocrity. And Howard Schnellenberger also went on to completely build from the ground up the FAU football team. That's what this game this Friday is about. And I think as a national sense, we really lose that a lot. Howard Schnellenberger still has not been inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame due to win-loss regulations because he has a winning percentage under 49%. I wonder why when you build multiple college football programs. But that's why we play this game on Friday. It's very important for both fan bases, and I feel like that's something that is lost a lot of the times outside of weird little quirky comments by ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
So just wanted to hit on that little soapbox. With that being said, though, James, the line opens at 13.5 for the Canes. As of right now, ESPN FPI has Miami with an 84.9% chance to win. What's your initial gut feeling on this one? How do you feel?
So I'm the person, if you go back to the preview, I wasn't sold on this Miami team throughout the summer. I thought it was going to be your normal 8-4, 9-3 Miami team. They were going to coast. They're a lot better than I expected them to be. Carson Beck's rarely been able to buy into that system, and he doesn't have near as many turnover worthy plays as he did at Georgia. With that being said, as good as Miami's defense has, I think there's a lot of opportunity here for the Louisville offense. I think you saw in moments throughout the season in the quick passing game and their ability to get Lacey involved, as well as the offensive line's gotten progressively better. I think it's being cautiously optimistic, but I think there is opportunity for Louisville to limit possessions in this game, and if they're able to get their running game going, you could give yourself a chance in the fourth quarter against a team that I think is top 5 in the country.
So you hit on Miami's quarterback situation. So I have a question for you. I'm going to give you two quarterbacks, and you tell me which one you'd rather have at this point in the season. Okay. Quarterback A has thrown for 1,213 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Quarterback B has thrown for 1,358 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. What quarterback do you think you would rather have right now?
So pretty certain I know the two quarterbacks. Stats wise, it's the one that with 11-3. But I think the 7-4 is a better game manager. He's able to push the ball down the field a little bit better.
I'm not. So first off, I know we did the Miller Moss conversation last week. We're leaving that in last week's show. That's there. We're here now. Miller Moss, statistically speaking, is not that far off from Carson Beck. Carson Beck's been a very good game manager here throughout the season. Along with that, Fletcher has more yards than Isaac Brown. Granted, Isaac's been kind of hurt, so I'm not going to hurt him too much, though. But where things really get interesting for me in comparing this Miami and Louisville offense is in the wideout room. Miami really has still yet to find a very solid wide receiver one, in my opinion.
I've been impressed. I've been impressed with the freshman. I've been impressed with Malachi Tony, the freshman wide receiver they got down there. CJ Daniels has been good in making plays, but he's not consistently involved in the offense. They completely rebuilt that wide receiver room in the portal. I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup in how you have a portal built secondary in Louisville and a portal built wide receiver room in Miami. I think that could be the defining point of this game is Louisville's ability to be able to control the big plays.
True. Where I was going with that, though, would you rather have the wideout room you have at Louisville with a Chris Bell with 500-plus receiving yards, Colin Lacey, who I believe has around 300, almost making up for 700 receiving yards. Would you rather have that, or would they have in Miami?
Miami's benefit is that where they don't have a true one, anybody could get you any given night. And those are the teams that are the most dangerous because you can't really zero in on anybody. I think I'd take our room over their room, but I think the way they utilize their wide receivers, I think is more beneficial to winning football than the way we use our receivers.
Okay. Let's talk about the defenses a little bit. If you want my honest opinion, I think Ruben Bain is one of the best college football players in the country right now.
Mm-hmm.
He is that good. Messidor is pretty dang good also. This is a D-line that is going to sit up there with the Oklahomas of the world, is considered as one of the best D-lines in the country.
Mm.
But where do you think that Miami's defense ranks right now?
I haven't looked at it in a couple of weeks. I would say somewhere between 15 and 20 in the country.
They have the 15th ranked defense in the country right now. Where do you think Louisville's ranks?
10th to 15th. I know they're ranked pretty heavily. They are able to limit a Virginia offense to averages over 35 points per game to 10 regulation points and only 7 points all along field. Consistently, Louisville's been able to get a top 5 pressure rate when only breaking 4 throughout the year. I think Louisville's defensive line is very underrated. I think defensively, I think they kind of bounce off of each other pretty well. I think they're pretty even defensively, both of these teams.
Louisville actually has the 13th ranked defense in the country. What I'm getting at here, for all things considered, for a lot of the moaning and complaining that I've done about Louisville after the Virginia game and that a lot of others have done, on paper, if you avoid a trademarked Miller Moss moment, this could be a pretty dang close football game.
Mm-hmm.
These teams are very similar statistically. And what I want to point out is people will look at Louisville's schedule and say, oh, they haven't beat anybody. Okay. Miami, 27-24 over a struggling Notre Dame team. Bethune-Cookman, they blow out of the water. South Florida, they blow out of the water. South Florida's a good team. We'll say that. Florida, struggling. They beat 26-7. Florida State, 28-22. They let Florida State score 15 points in the fourth quarter to get back into that football game. Louisville has a shot here to really do some interesting stuff. All right. And I know I'm not the most pro rah-rah Louisville fan always, especially on this program. I'm actually pretty pessimistic. But when I look at and I'm sorry, I keep looking to the right here because I got all my stats and everything and all that on the screen. When I come to this conclusion, I genuinely think this might be the best defense Miami has played all season.
Oh, yeah. Another key factor in this game, and this will take you back to the JMU game. And Florida State took advantage of this a lot in that fourth quarter when they scored 19. Um, the middle of the field's open a lot, especially because Miami loves to play those too high looks, especially on those second and third downs. If Louisville's able to run the ball early and make them have to get back in that too high, this just screams a game that you could really utilize your tight end room and Chris Bell over the middle. So, and we went on this in the Virginia game. At some point, if you keep hitting Chris Bell, you're going to have Colin Lacey wide open.
Yeah. Now, James, I just talked to you about offense. On paper, Miami is very, very good defensively, and self-admittedly, I think they're just a very good unit. They hold Florida State to 22 points. Would you consider Florida State to have a very good offense?
Florida State is a team that I think they're very good in running the football at times. They hold very weak offensive line. Their passing offense outside of Deuce Robinson is very weak.
They hold Florida to 7 points. Do you think Florida has a very good offense?
No. Florida's a team that they had 5 interceptions against LSU. I think they threw for only 61 yards against Miami.
They hold South Florida to 12 points. There's a pretty big talent mismatch there. You should hold South Florida to 12 points. Bethune-Cookman at 3 points. Exact same situation, just instead of it being this, it's this.
Mm-hmm.
And then they hold Notre Dame to 24 points. Would you consider the Fighting Irish to have a very good offense?
No, it's been an offense that's sputtered, especially early, as that was the first game of the year as CJ Carr at his first start. You saw him make mistakes that are evident of him being a freshman. I think with what you've seen, Miami has a good defense. They haven't really shown me enough that I can say they have a great defense to this point.
Again, I will say, I really do think Miami has a very good defense.
Mm-hmm.
But as I sit here, and I don't know if this is me overreading into it because I'm a Louisville fan or, trying to get too far into it. But what I tell myself is Louisville has previously scored 30, 34, 40, 28, and 51 points. All right. I do not genuinely think, and this is going to sound crazy, I think this is the best offense theoretically Miami has played. Now, we use that word theoretically a lot when talking about Louisville's offense because we have trademarked Miller Moss moments happen every once in a while. I also think the argument could be made from a statistical standpoint and partially an analytical one. This is for sure the best defense Miami has played.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go further into this conversation. How much do you think the get-in, this is getting really into the weeds, so I'm sorry. How much do you think the get-in ticket price is for this game?
I think for nosebleeds, the last time I looked, it was like $58.
What'd you say? I'm sorry?
I think it was 58 when I looked at it, but I ain't looked in a while.
All right, so the current get-in price is $25. I have seen a few different Miami people kind of suggest that it looks as if there's going to be about 20 to 25,000 people there. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, which for reference, I believe the official attendance for Pittsburgh was 17,000? Somewhere around that number, 17, 18. This is setting up to be a very, very interesting game. I think that we can reasonably say that looking at the statistical values, looking at the analytical values, comparing opponents, XYZ. Vegas does not feel like this will be. Vegas has Miami at that 13.5 line, and that number's only going up. They're really, really down on Louisville in this one. Same with FPI.
Yeah.
And me personally, I like to use a model I really, really like to use, and I highly suggest you guys check it out, is the College Football Nerds model. It's pretty good. They have Miami winning 28-14. Okay. So we have models telling us one thing from So we have models telling us one thing. And then when I look at actual raw data, I see a different thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying Louisville will win. I'm not saying that at all. To be completely honest with you, I'm going to pick Miami to win later on in the show. All I'm simply saying is if you are a Louisville fan, do not sleep on Louisville's ability to make this a very, very interesting football game. For Louisville to win, it's going to take a couple of things to happen. We're going to have to call a good game offensively, which I don't feel like we've consistently seen throughout the season. Miller, just quite honest, you're going to have to play your best game of the season.
No.
When we've seen Miller have really good flashes, and when he has really good flashes, and we're not doing the Miller Moss conversation, all right? When he has really good flashes, it works. If you can do that for 4 quarters, you got a chance here where not a lot of people are giving you a chance.
I completely agree with you. I feel like your defense allows you some room for error in this one. I feel like your running defense outside of like the 3rd and 1 to 4th and 1s, you've been a pretty good defense against the run. So I think if you take away the run from Miami and make Carson Beck beat you, I think that's a recipe for success for Louisville. Because I feel like that's what teams did when he was at Georgia. They took the running game away and they made him beat them. And I think it'll slow down that Miami offense a lot. And I feel like that's similar to what they're going to do against the Louisville's offense. They're going to try to take away the running game and make Miller beat them. I think this game, it just screams like a nasty game where the under looks very appetizing in this one. I think you could see a game where both teams is first to 20.
I could also, I put this out there in our Discord earlier today, which if you're not a part of the Cardinal Companion Discord, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Get on in here. I put this out in the Discord the other day, or earlier today, I'm sorry. And I said, this game screams to me the Notre Dame game in the COVID year. Just a nasty, ugly, low-scoring game from both sides. And I think it's going to come down to who can have the more explosive plays. Modern college football, we all yell about, explosive play rate. It's the biggest, best stat. It's everything. Realistically, I see it. If Isaac Brown can pop one, or Chris Bell can do Chris Bell things, or Lacey can return a punt, or a kick, or however it be, or heck, if Miller can make a throw, I think you can win this football game. And it might just come down to one singular play.
Last year, Louisville was able to run and make some plays, and outside of a controversial callback on a scoop and score Antonio Watts in that 4th quarter, you may win that game. This year, Miami's a completely different style offense. I think their defense is very similar to what you saw last year. A little bit more explosive on the defensive line, but outside of that, their secondary is about slightly improved, but still not the greatest secondary in the world. I think there's definitely an area to really take advantage of by Louisville here. And Chris Bell's playing the best football he has in 4 years. Colin Lacey, you saw some at points against Virginia where his utilization in the screen game and jet sweeps you're seeing that having a little bit of an uptick. I think there's room for a Louisville fan here to be really optimistic in your chances and being able to cover the spread. And if you get to the end of the 4th quarter, we've seen in the past with Mario Cristobal, anything can happen.
Yeah. This is one of those games where this is the reason why you hire Jeff Brown. Okay. And I'm going to be honest with you. Miami, they've had a phenomenal year so far. Great year. Mario Cristobal's still their coach. And Mario's going to have one singular Mario moment once a game. You have to be better than Mario Cristobal to win this game. And that should not be a Herculean task to overtake. If you can do that, you can play clean football. You got a chance. And hey, if you win this football game, your season goals are still obtainable. Yeah, you're down a game in the ACC right now. I think realistically looking at the ACC, it's going to come down to probably 2 one-loss teams.
Mm-hmm.
You have to beat Miami because I feel like if you lose this game, inversely, you're out of the ACC championship race. So it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be fun. You have a major opportunity here. Major opportunity.
And traditionally, Miami has had issues on Friday night. Last year, they had a Virginia Tech team that was spiraling come in and or one play away from pulling the upset.
They should have won that game, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But good old ACC officiating struck again.
Mm-hmm.
But you have an opportunity here, and I know of a certain former University of Louisville coach that would always step up in these opportunities, and we rightfully remember him as the father of our football program, and he's the reason why you're playing this football game today. So go out and get those boots.
Josh, who is your player to watch on the offensive defensive side of the ball for Louisville to win this game?
Offensively, I'm taking Isaac Brown. I think he's fully healthy. Hopefully we see some improvement with the offensive line. I mean, hopefully. Even if you don't know, the kid is absolutely electric. I know how Isaac Brown feels about Miami, and this is a game that is scheduled on his calendar. And I think he comes out with a lot to prove, and I think he has probably his best statistical day ever as a Louisville Cardinal. I mean, hey, this is a Cards Companion show, baby. Antonio Watts, man, he's a star. He's proving why he's a star. And along with being a star, he plays star backer. Kind of all goes together, right? One thing we saw out of Carson Beck a lot at Miami, for some reason, he really struggled against 4-2-5 sets. Like, oddly, weirdly struggled against them every time he saw him in the SEC, which is, at least at the time, was the most prevalent defensive scheme in the SEC. Like what you hit on, when you take away the run game from Carson Beck, that's when you get some issues. If you're struggling with that 4-2-5 scheme and you're struggling to throw the ball, that means you're really struggling with identifying who the star backer is and where he's playing. I think Watts comes out. I think he gets an interception, and I think he has a very nice day.
Okay, so mine is the hometown boy. As you hit on, I got to go with Isaac Brown on this one. I don't want to just take the one the same as you. I think last year he had some big plays at home against Miami. I think today he's coming in. He's going to hear all the talk. He's going to hear people from his hometown. His family's going to be there. I think you're going to hear people say you haven't done anything all year. Mark Fletcher's better. You haven't done anything. Your offensive line ain't going to give you room. I think you see Isaac Brown make multiple big plays in that first half. Defensive side of the ball, it's Cardinal Companion video. I'm going to say his name at least once. You got Caleb Lubin. For everything you can say about Miami and their defensive line, Caleb Lubin's been a top 5 edge rusher this season in the country. And at times, you've seen Miami have issues protecting the blind side of Carson Beck, which is stall drives, specifically in that Florida game, where outside of the final 6 minutes, that was a 6-point game for a majority of that game. So Miami's offense has had issues sputtering.
Breaking news.
James Franklin just got fired.
James Franklin's been fired.
Yeah, we said that's going to happen.
This would go check out the other video, man. That's all I can say. See you, brother. Big Ten continue to do Big Ten things.
If your defensive line, who showed some good speed off the ball, are able to influence the running game, it's going to allow for A.J. Green and Caleb Lubin to get off that edge. It's going to speed Carson Beck's internal clock up drastically. And the one thing we've seen over the past 3 to 4 years with Carson Beck is when his clock's sped up, he's very prone to throwing it in double and triple coverage. And it could be a recipe for success for that Louisville secondary. The game's going to, I think it comes down to less of stopping Miami. It's more so fixing your own issues. I think on paper, these rosters match up very well, and analytically, they do as well. If Miller Moss is able to avoid throwing a pick six for a third straight game, and they're able to limit, if they're able to win a turnover game, and I hate to be the obvious, you're on the road in the conference to win a turnover game that dramatically increases your chances of winning. I think you have a real good shot to go in and really change the national narrative of this team.
I agree. This is a massive, massive, massive opportunity for Louisville. The playmakers are there. You just got to make them work, like what you were saying. Do you just want to get right into game picks?
Yeah.
All right. I'll go first. I've said a lot of really nice things about Louisville so far. With all of that being said, I'm not taking the Cards. I'm going to take Miami to win this game, and I'm going to take them to win 21-10. I think Cards will cover like an 11-point spread there. But just based off what I've seen this season from Louisville, it's going to take a lot to get things working. You're going to really have to rely on, one, the offensive line doing their job, Miller Moss making a very obvious adjustment, play calling on the offense increasing, and then you're also going to have to rely on the defense doing what they've done all season. That is a lot of relying factors. I just haven't seen it enough yet. So I'm going to take Miami, and it sucks. But in our preview show this year, I took Miami to beat us, and I'm still holding strong with that prediction.
So I told you I was close on this. I was 100% that we were covering. And this game's just great. Miami, the one thing about Jeff and the one thing about Mario is they're both due one. Mario's due one game where his team drastically underperforms. I think they're the top 5 team in the country. Jeff always has that one game where his teams overperform. He had it at Purdue every year. He's had it every year he's been here. This game reminds me a lot of that 2023 Notre Dame game where you went in knowing the potential of the team.
All right.
Okay, so it screams a lot like that Notre Dame game in 2023 where you knew the potential of the team, but you didn't know what it was. 24 game where nobody outside of like a couple people gave us a realistic chance to go into Death Valley and win that game when they haven't lost the night game since 2013. I think this Miami team truly hasn't been tested the way they will be tested by this offense. If Miller Moss is able to prevent issues, you've had 2 weeks. If it's now or never. With that being said, I'm taking us. I think it's 17-13. I think it relies on Louisville winning time of possession, and Isaac Brown has over 200 yards.
All right. I like the jersey there. It's pretty sick. Okay. I hope you're right. I just want to point that out. I do hope you're right. It's going to be a fun one. I'm glad this game's on Friday night. I can't say that enough, how glad I am.
Yeah.
And for the last time, remember why we play this game. You know, this game, I really do feel like this is a game that should be as a celebration for the life and the legacy of Coach Schnellenberger. And, you know, that's really, to me, that's what this game's all about. But should be a fun game. Either way it goes. I'm excited.
We need to bring the boots home.
As always, to our patrons, thank you all so much for doing this. We really appreciate you guys tuning into our content. It means a lot to us. If you could do us a huge favor, though, please help us with our engagement a little bit. Please like, subscribe, share, all of that great stuff, and drop us a comment. With that being said, though, we will see you guys next time on the Cardinal Companions, hopefully celebrating a Miami dub or a Louisville dub over Miami. We'll talk to you all later. Go Cards.